When it comes to the resale value of luxury items like designer handbags, watches, and jewelry, some people will tell you to completely disregard resale value and simply buy what you love. On the other end of the spectrum, I've also seen some people refuse to buy certain items or even certain brands altogether because their items don't hold value. However, I believe it's beneficial to take a more nuanced approach. There are certain situations where you might want to take resale value into consideration in order to make a smarter purchasing decision. I will tell you exactly what those situations are in this video, so let's dive right into it. Hey there, this is Alula West Deluxe. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, I make a lot of videos on how to make smarter luxury shopping decisions based on my own personal experiences. If you enjoy that sort of content, I hope you will subscribe to my channel. Today's video does also feature a sponsorship with Legit Grails. They have also kindly shared a coupon code for my viewers to get 15% off authentication services. I will share that with you in just a little bit. That said, all views and opinions in this video are my own. Let's start out with a few basic principles about resale value and the resale market, just so we're all on a level playing field. The number one thing to take into consideration is that the resale value of an item is never guaranteed. Even for safe bets like the Hermes Birkin and Rolex watches, items that are known to maintain a resale value, those prices are never guaranteed in the future. The resale market is constantly changing based on a variety of factors, including things like economic considerations, consumer behaviors, and trends, which is especially impactful for fashion items like handbags and jewelry. So that is just something to keep in mind. Even if an item is currently reselling or in recent years has resold for a certain price, that doesn't necessarily mean that's guaranteed in the future. It's also important to remember that the resale value of an item does not equal the amount of money you will make off of that sale. Chances are you will use some sort of consignment service or reselling service or an online marketplace like eBay or Poshmark. All of those places charge a fee to help you sell your item. So unless you personally know someone that you can sell your item to, chances are a part of that resale value will be given to a service that will help you sell your item. Of course, the fees that you will be charged will vary drastically depending on what type of service you choose. A full-service consignment store will generally charge higher fees than an online marketplace like eBay. When you use an online marketplace, you're doing a lot more work yourself. You're taking photos of the item yourself, writing the description yourself, pricing the item yourself, shipping it out yourself. So they charge less fees, but you will still be charged a fee for using an online marketplace. So this is just to say that when you look up resale values and you see an item is maintaining a great resale value, remember, chances are you will not be keeping 100% of that value yourself. You will be most likely giving some of it to a service for helping you sell your item. Of course, we can't talk about the resale market without also mentioning authentication services. It is so important to get your items authenticated. It's also a very good idea to have your own certificate of authentication if you're a seller to protect yourself. There are scammers on both ends of the spectrum, both buying and selling. Personally, I like to use Legit Grails. They're also sponsoring this portion of today's video. I love Legit Grails because they cover a variety of brands, over 250 luxury and designer brands. So chances are, no matter what brand you're looking to authenticate, Legit Grails will have you covered. So you start out by selecting the brand you would like to authenticate. and then you select your service. They offer a variety of timelines ranging from 24 hours to a 30-minute turnaround time. So they offer a very quick service if that's what you need. They also take all the guesswork out of it. When you need to upload your photos, they tell you exactly what pictures they need of your item. And that's it. You just submit your request, and then it goes through 2 authentication checks, both by AI and a human expert authenticator. One of the things I also love about Legit Grails is their user dashboard. So once you get your certificate of authenticity, it is saved in your user dashboard. So if you decide to sell an item a few years down the road, you can very quickly and easily go onto the website on your user profile, locate that certificate, and download it when you need it. So I also really love how organized it is. They've set up a coupon code for my viewers. The code is Lula15. For your next authentication order at legitgrails.com, make sure you enter the code Lula15 for 15% off. Thank you so much to Legit Grails for sponsoring this portion of today's video. One note about looking up resale values: if you are looking up what the resale value of an item is, of course, you can just go online, search the item, and get all the current prices that different places are selling the item for. But that's only going to tell you what the current resale value is. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, I do think it's important to look at the resale value trends. I also like to read the annual resale reports of major resellers, places like Fashion File and Rebag. They publish annual resale reports that give an overall picture of the resale market. They'll also point out certain brands and certain items that have gone up or down in value over the past year. So when you're looking up resale values, I do think it's also important to have that baseline knowledge to make a more informed decision. I'm going to link a few resale reports in the video description box below. Of course, these are just a few reports. These are the ones that I personally read, but I will link to a few to get you started in the video description box. The first situation where I think it's so important to consider resale value is if you are brand new to buying luxury items, no matter what the category is. If you're new to buying luxury handbags, luxury jewelry, luxury watches, etc., if you are buying your first item or you've just started buying those luxury items within the past year or two, chances are your preferences will change over time and you will learn and discover things over the subsequent years of buying luxury items. I can give you an example of this from my own experience. My first year buying luxury handbags, I decided to buy the Chanel Classic Flap. It was a dream bag of mine, and I had a great opportunity to get one. I got it from Fashion File. It was the Jumbo Classic Flap in black caviar leather with silver hardware. It was the exact size I thought I wanted, the type of leather, the color, the hardware, and the price was right. So I bought the bag with the full intention of keeping it forever. However, 3 years later, I ended up selling it, and I sold it for this bag that I have here today. I ended up selling it for the mini Chanel reissue. And I sold it because I discovered over the next few years, as I bought and used more designer handbags, I bought the wrong size. I got the jumbo size because I knew I liked larger bags. I knew exactly what I needed to fit in my bag. However, once I got my classic flap, I didn't use it day to day. It was more of a date night and special occasion bag for me. I know that you can dress down a Chanel classic flap. You can wear it every day. However, that wasn't how I was using it. I was using it more as a going out, evening, date night bag. And the jumbo size was just too big for those occasions. So I did end up selling it, and I did get the mini size, and I ended up switching from the classic flap to the reissue. So even though I was very calculated in the beginning, it was my first year buying designer bags. So I poured over all the data, all the information, everything about myself, what I knew I wanted, what I was looking for in a bag, and I thought I had selected the perfect bag and I would have it forever. It didn't turn out that was true because as I ended up buying more bags, I got more experienced and more knowledgeable. I discovered I hadn't taken everything into consideration. I hadn't thought about how I was actually going to be using the bag. So that's just one example. Even if you think you know what you want, especially when you're early on and you're new to buying luxury items, it is something I think that should at least be taken into consideration, even though it shouldn't be the number one priority. Another time where I think it's important to consider the resale value is actually based on your own shopping habits. If you are a high volume purchaser, meaning you purchase a large number of items per year, I think it's more important to consider the resale value because people who tend to buy more items also tend to sell more items. Some people have a one in, one out rule, meaning they buy one item, so they have to sell one item, and it's just due to a lack of storage or wanting to declutter or not have too large of a collection. So, whatever your reason is, if you are consistently buying a lot and selling items in turn when you buy something, I do think it's important to consider the resale value because chances are you will not make back 100% of whatever you paid for an item. So you do have to consider if you're selling a large number of items, you will most likely lose a little bit of money on each sale of that item. But that is something to consider and figure out where you are personally comfortable on that spectrum. This might be obvious, but another time when you'll want to consider the resale value is if you're buying an item and you're open to buying it either new or pre-loved. There's a whole variety of considerations to take into account. Sometimes an item does hold its resale value a lot, and the resale savings isn't that much. Maybe you could save a nominal amount of money by buying an item pre-loved. And in that case, I tend to prefer to buy an item new from the store, especially if it's a brand that I buy from a lot, like Louis Vuitton, because then it also gives me an opportunity to go to the store, talk to my client advisor. I can buy something from them. They get a commission. It helps maintain my relationship with the brand and with my client advisor. That is really helpful when there are limited edition releases and you want to get an item. If your CA knows you and you buy from them regularly, you have a better chance of getting an item. But there are also items that don't hold their value well. And you could save sometimes thousands of dollars by buying an item pre-loved. And in those cases, I do consider buying pre-loved for the savings. If it's thousands of dollars, I will 100% go pre-loved to buy an item. So I think it's really important to look at the resale market and see what your piece is going for. Are you willing to pay extra for the store experience? Do you want to get a savings? What's your own personal preference? So that's one of the times I think it's most important to consider the resale value. That's everything I have for today's video. Again, thank you to our sponsor, Legit Grails. Do not forget to use my coupon code LULA15 for 15% off your next authentication. If you have any other tips regarding resale value, please leave those in the comments section below and we will continue the conversation there. As always, I'll leave another video up here for you to watch next, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye now.